Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we are having a thunderstorm right now. So if you hear thunder in the background, you've just gotten a new sound, because I don't think we've really gotten a good clap of thunder on this channel yet, but we need one. After I finish this video, I'm taking my sons to go hit baseballs, and then tonight, it's Friday night, and I'm in the mood for some hot wings. I'm gonna track some hot wings down somewhere. I haven't decided where yet, but that's what I'm thinking about on this Friday. Okay, first from Mr. B, XRP at XRP Mister. He's kind of summed up the week really well for us, and I wanted to show this. Who's talking crypto this week? Congress, check. Steve Mnuchin, U.S. Treasury Secretary, check. Jerome Powell, Fed Chairman, check. Brad Garlinghouse tweeting and doing interviews on CNBC and Fox Business. Fox Business just happened today, by the way, and I will show you that in a minute. Check. Meanwhile, XRP Ledger is lighting up with activity, and SBI going into maintenance in just a few hours. That's the word on the street, is that SBI is going into maintenance very soon, and that will lead us into SBI going live hopefully soon. I've been hearing a lot about that. Okay, next from Brian Melancholy, XRP at MikeHoncho_11. There has been around 1.6 to 1.5 billion XRP moved within the last 24 hours. Yes, billion. Now let's put that in perspective, folks. There's 100 billion XRP that will ever be created, or that there are, period. About 40 something billion of those are out on the market, and the other 60 or so is in escrow with Ripple. So out of the 40 something billion, you've got 1.6 to 1.5 billion that's been moved in the last 24 hours. Folks, that smells like SBI, because SBI is such a huge part of all of this. It wouldn't surprise me one tiny bit if that had to do with SBI, because SBI has said that July is the month. Okay, and I got this. This is the first person that sent me the interview today. Brad Garlinghouse today was on Fox Business. Yesterday he was on CNBC. Today he's on Fox Business. Got this from AJQ, Fuds Fake, at AJ28288973, sent me the video. Now, there are a couple of things that I got out of the video. The first thing that I got out of the video is, well, first let's read what Brad Garlinghouse said in his tweet. He tweeted out the video. Great being on Mario Bartiromo's critical that your viewers understand that Libra does not represent all crypto. We agree with Donald Trump that the USD isn't going away, and we want to see thoughtful regulation that allows American innovation to flourish. So the first thing that I got out of this is what I tweeted to you, what I tweeted out yesterday, and that is that I believe Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse have. This was my whole reason for investing in XRP instead of being a Bitcoin guy. I've told you many times before on this channel that I am as angry at the banks and the central banks for what they've done in the world to destroy our money and destroy our savings than anybody. I would have just as easily been a Bitcoin maximalist when I started investing in this if I had not been in my late 30s when I started. And for that reason, but because I was older and experienced, XRP is what made sense to me, not just because technologically it was better, but because I thought that if in the real world, in the mature real world, you're not getting rid of governments. And for that reason, I didn't go down that Bitcoin road. I went down the XRP road because I thought that it was a bunch of mature, smart people with highly educated and highly connected that were going about it the right way. And what you're seeing now, the way that Ripple is able to position itself as this Libra stuff hits the news, the way you're watching this all unfold proves that those of us that saw XRP as the mature, smart way to go, we were right. We are right. So they've positioned themselves so that now you're seeing it on TV every day. The politicians and all, they view Bitcoin, that's represents anarchy. That represents, oh, they're trying to get around the government. And then Libra, oh, how dare Facebook, these arrogant big tech companies think that they can come out with their own digital asset. And then over here, you've got Brad Garlinghouse going on the news, going on these TV shows, and he's saying, hey, we love regulation. That's why we went to the regulators in the very first place. That's why we've been doing this for the last 7 years, talking to banks and regulators. And so they are perfectly positioned. XRP is positioned as this regulated bridge between, we don't want to try to replace fiat. We just want to be a bridge that's regulated. We've talked to all the regulators. We want to be a bridge between the central banks that issue their own fiat digital assets, or the banks that issue their bank digital assets, or a corporate that issues their own corporate digital asset, which in Libra's case, I believe that they might let these corporates issue them, but if they do, it'll be in the where they have to keep it inside of that corporation somehow. I don't know how that would all work, but the bottom line is you can see it all unfolding, how smart the way that Ripple has done this has been. And they were right, and we were right as investors. And that's the first point I wanted you to get out of the interview. The second point is something she showed on the screen. I didn't realize it, but the Wall Street Journal wrote an article called Cryptocurrency to the Rescue. Facebook's Libra could help the poor who lost credit after Dodd-Frank. So, I mean, it's like Wall Street Journal is just figuring out what I've been saying for the last year, which is all of this is from the financial crisis. It all was hatched from when they did the bailouts and all, that was the worst mistake these banks ever made. They wouldn't even be dealing with this, I don't believe, if the banks had not done those bailouts. That was the supreme arrogance that created all of this. Well, what they're saying, and they flashed this on the screen in the interview, cryptocurrency to the rescue, but it could provide, they're talking about cryptocurrencies, could provide low-income Americans with a cheap banking alternative and perhaps put pressure on banks to lower fees. Will regulators and politicians allow it? So you can see another dialogue hatching out of all of this. And I believe it's all good for crypto in general, but let's see, well, I'm not going to be able to get this thing to move right now. But anyway, I'll use Brad Garlinghouse as my thumbnail so you can see him in the interview. But so anyway, you kind of see where this is all going now. But the most important thing is that crypto is out there now, folks. And what you're looking at here is just another example. This is from the Crypto Ginger at crypto_ginger. Bitcoin and crypto is getting more positive publicity. Libra, not so much. Will this lead to regulatory framework soon? And this is on a local news channel, Representative Kevin McCarthy. And he's throwing his hands up. He's saying, I'm a big fan of cryptocurrency. I'm not out to destroy this or anything. And so that you can see where this is all going right now. They're not trying to say they want to ban all this because ultimately they know they can't. And I think they're beginning to realize that the people want this. Okay. And next, we got this from XRP Crypto Wolf. I talked about Larry Fink being interviewed, but he summarized it a little bit. I was just going to read this to you. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, to reduce fees and cross-border transactions, the world needs tech to democratize the exchange of foreign currencies in cross-border transactions. It sounds like Fink would love Ripple's technology and their mission with XRP. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Fink owns XRP or BlackRock as well. Okay, and then Ripple tweeted this out. Let's see, I think this was today. Ripple is number 13 on the San Francisco Bay, I don't know what the T stands for, philanthropy list. We have an obligation and an opportunity to show that we can take some of our success and funnel it in a way that is positive. SVP of Global Operations. So Ripple, once again, doing the smart thing and being philanthropic to show that it's not just about their success, but it's about helping other people. X-Men XRP at XRP33 sent me this. He didn't send me this. He sent me a video from CNBC, but I wasn't going to show that. I didn't want to show the rest of his tweet and all that, or the rest of his DM and all that. But he put out in front of me that, I've talked a lot about QE and all this. And basically, we've talked a lot about how these governments and central banks have backed themselves into a corner by keeping interest rates so low for so long, and they've printed money and bailed out and all this. Well, they've got so much debt on them, they've backed themselves even further into a corner. They can't raise interest rates without the market freaking out. And now, what he sent me is that they're all about to start this QE again. Quantitative easing, which is nothing more than a term that was created by central banks, and it means money printing. And you don't have to take my word for it. I pulled the definition so you can read, so I can show it to you. But these are just a few articles that came up, recent articles about QE. Remember QE? Fed bond buys could be back sooner than you think. That was from a month ago. This is a day ago. ECB to cut rates in September. QE 2.0 still on the cards. ECB will restart quantitative easing. That's from Fitch 15 hours ago. Quantitative easing will likely come to Australia, John Abernethy, 4 days ago. But it's already beginning. Now, when you hear QE and you hear about all this stuff, lowering interest rates, the digital assets are the place to be, folks. Gold, silver, digital assets. But just so you know, here's what quantitative easing is. Quantitative easing is an unconventional monetary policy in which a central bank purchases government securities or other securities from the market in order to increase the money supply and encourage lending and investment. Well, if you look at the last line, that really tells you the truth of it. This is all a bunch of BS. This is the real stuff. Quantitative easing increases the money supply by purchasing assets with newly created bank reserves, in other words, money printing, in order to provide banks with more liquidity. In other words, it's an excuse and a bullcrap marketing lingo that just means creating new bank reserves, printing money. That's all it is. And it's because of all of the irresponsibility from all these years. Okay, now here, you want something else that will drive people from stock markets into gold, silver, and digital assets? Look at this. Breaking news. Earlier today, I think it was today, the U.S. had shot down an Iranian drone. And now Iran has officially announced it has captured a British tanker in the Persian Gulf. UK emergency meetings underway. That is creepy, folks. Okay, and finally, the crypto utility guy at Utility Guy 7, ex-CEO of crypto exchange WEX, arrested in Italy. Here's the article on this. It says that Dmitry Vasilev, former CEO of now defunct crypto exchange WEX, was arrested Friday in Italy. The BBC's Russia service reported. And the details of this are kind of fuzzy, but the bottom line is this guy's being picked up for a reason. Who knows? It was a defunct exchange. The way I read this, I think he sold this exchange to another guy, and then the other guy that bought it said that nobody on board that was the staff that was there when this CEO left, the staff was his old staff, and that none of them liked the new CEO. And then one of the employees disappeared with the private keys that controlled everything. That was the gist of the way I read it. And so now they're hauling this guy in to ask him a few questions. But the bottom line is this, folks. Don't keep your digital assets on exchanges. Get a Ledger Nano S in the description of every video that I've ever done. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button. And tell your friends and family, do not keep your digital assets on exchanges. Have a good weekend.